Hi everyone. So for today's meeting, we are going to use asynchronous method. So please watch this video until the end. And if you have any question, do not hesitate to uh, text me through WhatsApp group that we already have. Okay, so today's topic, I'm going to continue from our previous meeting. So today I'm going to talk about the strategy to implement nutrition education. So last week we have already learned about how to state the objective for nutrition education, and then today we are going to the next step, the fifth step, which is design the activities for nutrition education. So designing activities is also an important part in nutrition education because we have to be able to design the activities that is suitable so that we can achieve the objectives that we tend to have. Okay, activities should also be conducted or should be developed based on the theory that we selected in the step 3. Okay, so let's take a look what can we do to design the activities for nutrition education. So for strategy of implementation in nutrition education, there are two strategies that we can use. First one is designing the activity that is related with the psychosocial changes. For example, we are planning to increase the self-efficacy or increase the attitude, affective, or others behavioral mediator. Or the second one, we can also use strategy that focus on the designing activity that related to the environmental change. Okay, so these are the two implement strategies that we can choose either one of it, or we can also use both of it in one nutrition education. It depends on what kind of objectives that we first develop before this stage. So here's, for example, if we use the trans-theoretical theory, one of the famous behavioral change theory that believe that change of the people happens gradually. So trans-theoretical model explain the very early stage are pre-contemplation, and then continue to contemplation, and then preparation, action, and the last one is maintenance. There are several process of change inside the trans-theoretical model. For example, from pre-contemplation to contemplation, there are consciousness raising, which aims mostly to increase the awareness of a specific population. And here, at the right one, you can read the intervention strategies or implementation strategies that we can use during the nutrition education or when we are developing the activities for nutrition education. For example, consciousness raising, how to increase awareness of our population. We can increase their awareness through self-assessment. So self-assessment will be one of the nutrition education activities that you will do if you know that your population is still in pre-contemplation stage. Other than self-assessment, you can also use feedback, confrontation, media campaigns, and so on. The objective of these strategies is to increase the awareness of our population. And then the next one, there's also emotional arousal and also environmental re-evaluation from pre-contemplation to contemplation stage. And these are the strategies that you can use: personalizing risk, personal testimonies. For example, you invite one of the person that is having experiment or experience in a specific behavior. For example, if you want to giving nutrition education related with low consumption of fruits and vegetables, and then you have that one person or one keynote speaker that talk about the effect of not eating fruits and vegetables in daily basis. For example, that person is already having cancer or having high cholesterol diseases, so that from that personal testimonies they can give the audience a sense that they have to raise the awareness to increase their fruits and vegetable intake. Okay, you can also use role play, trigger films, using media campaigns to address feelings, because most of people, they want to change their behavior if they feel that they need to change. Using empathy training, playing documentaries, movies, or any other trigger movies can also be done in the population that is still in the pre-contemplation stage. And then from contemplation to preparation and also to action, there are several processes of change, such as self-re-evaluation, self-liberation, and also helping relationship in action to maintenance. For self-re-evaluation and self-liberation, the strategies for nutrition education that you can use are assessing individual to clarify their values, believing that behavior change is part of their identity. So in this stage, we believe that our population are already aware that they have a specific problem, and then they also think that they need to change, but sometimes they still think that the barriers are outweigh the possibilities of doing the behavioral change. So sometimes they still think like, okay, I want to change, but blah blah, but there's something that makes them cannot or doesn't want to start the change itself. So in this stage, what you need as nutrition educators are to clarify that it is good that you already wants to change, then I can help you to start the change from the very small step. So you need to assure the population that the change is really important for their future health. There's also public group decision, or you can also use a strategy such as making self goal. Yeah, making self goal is also one of the strategies that you can use if your population is already wanted to change, so that they can have something like they have imagination, they have goals for their own. If we or if your population set their own goals, then it is most likely that your participant, your population of nutrition education are also willing to do that behavior change. Okay, and then from action to maintenance, that are helping relationship, counter conditioning. In this stage, your population is already doing behavioral change. Yeah, specific behavioral change. They start to do the better diet or better intake of fruits and vegetable and anything. Yeah, so they already do some action to change their previous bad behavior. So in this stage, the intervention strategies is quite easier. You can build a rapport. You can also create a supportive environment, such as making a buddy system or making a WhatsApp group to maintain their behavior, or I don't know, maybe small group discussion and many other type of supportive environment. You can also teach new ways of thinking about behavior, teaching the nutrition related skills. For example, you teach them or you give them the cooking demo or another demo that related with their behavioral change. Okay, and then for maintenance stage means that they already do the behavioral change for more than 6 months, which is good. So they need to maintain that behavior. Intervention strategies that you can use can be offered reward. Yeah, so giving reward, teaching individuals to reward themselves. So it's a self-reward. Yeah, I think it's quite important because changing behavior it's not an easy thing. So when a person or even the population in a bigger scale, they can change their behavior. So it's a big thing. So we need to give a reward or teach them to give a self-reward. And you can also use the strategies such as providing instruction, yeah, how to maintain their good environment, yeah, or using refrigerator magnets with reminders, for example, or tip sheets, or many other things that can remind them to always do or to always adapt the new behavior. And then social liberation, similar to this, yeah. The strategies that you can use is providing environmental support. Okay, and here is another potential mediator for behavioral change, yeah, from others construct other than transtheoretical model, because I believe you have learned such as help belief model, you have learned maybe social cognitive theory and many others behavioral change theory, and here are the potential mediator: perceived risk, awareness, outcome expectation, perceived benefits, attitudes, self-efficacy, food preference, social norms, habit, behavioral intention. So for each of these mediator, you can use these strategies. And in the right one is the example of practical educational activities or learning experience, content or message that you can deliver through your nutrition education. So for example, if you write your objective to increase the perceived benefits of the population related with eating fruits and vegetables, that's the example. So perceived benefits is an information about perceived benefits of taking action or motivators with personal meaning of the intended audience. So you can use or you can plan the nutrition education activities such as giving personal health belief, yeah, or personal health benefits if they change their behavior. Because if they can do the listing, like for example, to me, eating more fruits and vegetables will makes me reduce the aging, makes my skin look brighter, or other things. So you can use that activities, ask your audience to list the benefits of eating fruits and vegetables so that they can finally aware that, oh, okay, I think the benefits is more or outweigh than the risk of not eating fruits and vegetables, so that they will increase their willingness to eat fruit and vegetable in daily basis. Yeah, so you have to make sure what kind of potential mediator of behavioral change based on theory construct that you choose, and then state the objective, and then develop the educational activities that match with the mediator of behavioral change. Okay, so I think you can read yourself, yeah, for this one. I'm not going one by one, because anyway, even myself, yeah, even when I develop nutrition education, sometimes I still look at this table to make sure that my or that educational activities that I develop is suitable with the potential mediator of behavioral change, because sometimes different nutrition education that we do using different theory construct. Yeah, so in order not to mix up, so I make sure by looking again at this table. Okay, so you can determine yourself what kind of educational activities that might suitable with the behavior change that you choose for your nutrition education. Okay, there's another one, linking between theory, strategies, and also educational activities. Goal setting, yeah, one of the mediator of behavioral change. Some activities that you can use to implement nutrition education. You can teach them how to have goal setting skill, provide contract, yeah, or action plan forms, and then you can give reward from for them who is able to reach their goals, and many other rewarding things that can increase their motivation to continue the behavioral change. Okay, there's also behavioral capability, increasing knowledge. So if you aim to increase knowledge, then these are the practical educational activities that you can adapt. You can present, you can do the presentation, you can do a lecture, you can give them a games or interactive activities, and many other things. Increasing self-efficacy, you can give them the demonstration, direct experience, give a feedback, and many others. Those are several potential mediator of behavioral change. And again, I have to emphasize that in one nutrition education, you can just use one mediator of behavioral change, or you can use more than one mediator of behavioral change. It all depends on the objective. Okay, so make sure that you have a clear objective, smart objective, so that it helps you to develop the educational activities easier. Okay, this is an example. Yeah, there's a nutrition education called the Right Bite nutrition education program for college students using social cognitive theory. Yeah, so they have several nutrition education activities. Yeah, they use several strategies as well. As you can see in the right one here, they use several mediator based on social cognitive theory. So they want to increase the outcome expectation. They also want to increase reinforcement, and then outcome expectation again, and also impediments. So for each of the construct that they want to achieve, they use different components in their nutrition education. So they have small group presentation, and then they also use personal follow-up or diet analysis. They also have a poster campaign, dorm contest. And here's the description of each activities in nutrition education. For sure, Rex. And then they also develop Dear Foodie column in the campus newsletter, point of purchase information in campus, cafeteria and vending machine. They also use website, cafeteria tours, and Right Bite video. So as I mentioned before, that in one nutrition education, there's possibility that you have more than one educational activities. Yeah, so it's possible, but it is also possible if you just use one or two activities for your objective. It again depend on the objective that you want to achieve, and also depend on the length of the nutrition education. Of course, if the length of nutrition education is not too long, then the activities will also be limited compared to those nutrition education with longer period. Okay, here's another example. Uh, you need to also understand, yeah, because in nutrition education, we're not just trying to emphasize on behavioral change. We're not just increasing knowledge, but I think we also slightly learn about psychology. So we learn about our audience, our target population, what works and what doesn't, what will doesn't works. So this slide give you an information what works and doesn't work in making changes, specifically related with nutrition. Yeah. So what works are if you set realistic goals, yeah, and then the goals should be clear, and you can give a small step, and then allowing for your food dislikes, because if if some physician, for example, tell you not to eat A to B to C and D and E, there's a willingness, there's something inside our heart that okay, I think I still want to eat A. Yeah, that's the example. So trying to include foods that you don't like might not making the changes work. Yeah. And then another thing that makes it works are making small changes. So do not expect a big changes in small period. Yeah. And then choosing foods that you can get easily, getting support from your family and friends, it's very important. Yeah, because environment sometimes can shape our behavior. And then the last one is being flexible. So compromise in some situations is also crucial, so that it's easier to do or to make a changes in your behavior. Another thing that makes changes doesn't work really well are trying to make changes all by yourself, torturing yourself, or being rigid, trying to live up your changes with absolutely no exception. Sometimes it also doesn't, it makes changes doesn't work, or it doesn't last longer. Yeah. Here's some example of the Eat Fit program goal tracking sheet. So it's one example of implementation strategy to make the goal setting. Yeah. So if you use social cognitive theory and then you ask your audience to have the goal setting, then you can use this goal tracking sheet. So each of the participants should have their own goals. It might be different from one to another students, but still they have to make their own goal setting until the end of nutrition education session. Yeah, and then as nutrition educators, we are going to evaluate, yeah, whether their goal setting meet or it doesn't meet. If it doesn't meet, then what makes it doesn't meet the goals. Okay, the next one, if we are talking about the implementation strategies in the nutrition education, then we should also remember this. Yeah, so we have to remember that if we teach or we ask them to read, we ask our audience to read, then they will just remember 10% of what we are delivering. 20% will remember for what they hear. So if you give them audio visual things, yeah, it can increase the thing that they can remember. 30% if they see, 50% if they listen and see, 70% if they say it and write, and 90% if they say it and do. Yeah, so that's why I always encourage you to do the or to develop hands-on activity or activities that include the participation of the audience, because they will do whatever you ask them to do, and it can increase the remember by 90%. Yeah, so you can be more creative. I'm sure 100% sure that you are more creative than me, because of course I'm older. Yeah, and you must be more creative to develop nutrition education that is suitable with the target population. Okay, next, going to talk about the approach of implementation strategy. There are two approaches. The first one is the approach that teacher-centered learning, or nutrition educators-centered learning, including lecture, demonstration, and also question and answer session. And in the another hand, there's student-centered learning. Student-centered learning is a type of learning, yeah, or approach that is focusing on the involvement of students or participation. Yeah, so I think that the right one, the SGL method, is more is better, yeah, than the teacher-centered learning, because in the student-centered learning they can also do whatever you ask them to do, so it can increase their capability of change behavior. Several types of student-centered learning are discussion, brainstorming, experiment, and also simulation. So here are the learning methods. I'm going to explain 5 most used learning methods. The first one is a lecture method of delivering information, where the educators provide oral presentation related to facts and principles to the participants, just like I do right now. Yeah, I'm lecturing, and it's sometimes lecturing or listening to lecturing will be like quite boring, yeah. And then it's very boring. So yeah, the learning method in nutrition education is I don't really recommend it because people easily get bored with the lecture. Okay, next one is a demonstration. It's a method of showing something to the participant so that they can see, they can hear, and finally able to practice the demonstrated activity. Brainstorming, also a student-centered learning method for collecting ideas and opinions from participants in relation to specific issues. Yeah, usually brainstorming is learning methods or educational activities that's suitable to, for example, increase the perceived benefits or increase risk. Yeah, so each participants can write the benefit that they think of changing behavior or the risk if they not change their behavior. Yeah, so it's a brainstorming. And then discussion, of course, yeah, from the name itself, it's activities to discuss a problem and investigate all options or ideas with the ultimate goal of achieving a common remember about the problem. And then the last one is a debate. Debate is actually quite similar to brainstorming, but debate is a method that facilitates discussion of a specific issue from 2 different viewpoints. Okay, so first one is a lecture. Several ability that we can obtain by the audience are knowing and understanding. So it's limited usually only in cognitive, yeah, in cognitive domain, yeah, and also affective domain, not psychomotoric domain. If you remember the last week lecture that I told you, yeah, there are 3 main domain of objective. There are cognitive, affective, and also psychomotor. So lecturing can only increase the cognitive and also affective domains. Audience just need to listen what is delivered. They can also record if they want. They can also write down anything they think it's important. And educators provide information through oral presentation related with nutrition and health. There are 6 types of lecture methods. First one is a formal oral essay, then also exploratory lecture, and then provocative lecture, lecture discussion, lecture recitation, and also lecture laboratory. Okay, you don't need to really dig deeper into each type of lecture method. So here's the things that you should do during the lecture method if you use lecture as your educational strategy. Yeah. So first, start with the opening. Of course, you have to greet your audience, trying to reduce the nervous feeling. Yeah, of course, we all have these nervous feelings. But then in the opening, we have to try to reduce the nervous feeling because, yeah, it's I think it's quite important, yeah, because if they see that we are too nervous, then it makes them uh, reduce their belief in us. Yeah, and then you can also gain audience attention by using several methods. Anything you can do some jokes, or I don't know, maybe other things to gain their audience attention, and then give some overview of what are you going to talk. Okay, and then the next point is the main part of the lecture should be flexible, determine key points or concept, organize, giving summary, check participants' memories by sometimes asking question in the middle of the lecture session, just like I did last week, yeah. During the lecture session, sometimes I ask questions and then asking for the participants' uh, involvements. You can also use example and take a break if you need. Yeah, but one thing that you need to emphasize in nutrition education while giving main point is please don't give too much text. Yeah, because nutrition education should be something that is fun, it is related with their daily life, and make them wants to change their behavior. But if it's too much text, and then you just talk and talk and talk, and you don't give a chance for your participants to engage with you, then it can uh, increase their awareness, it can increase their motivation to change behavior. The last one is closing. So you can do several things in closing. First is the linking key concept, and then repeats the material information. You can also give participants opportunity to ask and answer. This is very important, as I previously mentioned. And you can also provide question, quotation, analogies, or example that can provoke participants to run or understand the material. Yeah, we can, as a nutrition educators, we have to make sure at least they understand what we are trying to say, because giving nutrition education sometimes it's not an easy thing, yeah, because we know that our participant is not well educated related with food nutrition and also health. So we really have to shape our words. We really need to think about our presentation and how we talk to them. So there are several factors to be considered if we use the learning lecture method: intention, transmission, reception information, and also output. There are some strengths and weaknesses, of course, in each method, but in the lecture method, here the weaknesses are outweigh the strength. Yeah, the strengths such as efficient, of course, flexible methods are easiest to learn. I just need to some time to think with the content that we are going to say to our audience, easily delivered also, and it can be controlled. But the weaknesses, it can increase the passive participation of our audience, immediate feedback, and then concentration of participant may decrease, especially if you lecturing them maybe more than 15 or 30 minutes. Yeah, they will start to get sleepy, and then lower their concentration, lower level learning. Yeah, and then less attention and effectiveness is really depend on the educator skills. Yeah, and then the next and the second learning method are debate. Ability that can be obtained are knowing, understanding, and also building confidence. Yeah, because in debate you really need to, what can I say, you really need to be able to deliver your point of view, while the other group have different point of view, and then we debate on that thing. Audience can actively participate and also provide dynamic thinking, and as an educator we can give them guide to the flow of debate, and also conveying information according to the purpose of nutrition education. So if you use the debate as the educational activities, make sure in the end you as an nutrition educators also give what is the right information. Yeah, so that so that your audience did not leave questionable, or we don't want our audience to questionable. So which one is right? So you need to give summary as well. So in debate method, there are two groups, of course. Affirmative group, which support the race issue. Yeah, so they agree. And the other one is opposition or negative group that defies race issues. Yeah, so they are the group that disagree with the issue that you raise. For example, you want to raise nutrition education related with weight loss diet. Yeah, so weight loss diet should be caloric deficit, for example. So there are two groups that agree that if you want to lose some weight, then you have to do the caloric deficit. But the negative group, the opposite group, they disagree with that statement. So here's the pattern of a debate method. Yeah, first affirmative should give the strong statement, and then continue to the first negative person, and then continue to second affirmative, and then next to the second negative, and then third affirmative, and the last one will be the third negative. So each person in each group, affirmative or negative, have the same opportunity to deliver their message, yeah, to say what they want to say. So here are the overview of what first speaker, second speaker, and third speaker have to say. First speaker need to give an introduction, definition, and interpretation. They have to introduce to each speaker as well, giving arguments, reasons, and evidence. So in debate, giving evidence is also very important, because if you have evidence, especially if it's science-based evidence, yeah, then it strengthen your argument. And then first speaker give summary of the case, and then give conclusion, and then go back to first negative. They have to give the introduction as well, give the definition, yeah, reject the definition of the affirmative team, and then they provide the justification of their argument, giving the defensive. Yeah, so they have to deny the argument given by the affirmative. Then speaker recognition, giving argument, reason, evidence, summary, and then conclusion. And then next to the second speaker, short introduction. Then they deny the argument of a first negative. Summarize the first speaker, but it's optional. They can summarize the first speaker idea or not. And then again, giving arguments, reason, evidence why they disagree with the first negative, summary, and then conclusion. Yeah. And then the second negative should do the same thing, and then go to the third speaker in the affirmative group. They give a denial statement, summary of case, and then the conclusion. And then the last one, the third speaker of the negative group, give again the denial, conclusion, and what's different is there is no new argument, yeah, except as a specific rebuttal, not as a new proof of the case. Yeah, so you have to make sure, yeah, in debate, the third speaker doesn't give any new arguments. So for debate method, quite different with the lecture method, yeah. The strengths are outweigh the weaknesses. So participant in debate method can better understand the topic, play an active and dynamic role, motivated to learn more, to give more evidence, yeah, learn creatively, improve thinking power, improve their confidence, improving the open, critical, and logical and thoughtful thinking, They can also do self-evaluation, increase verbal skill, social skill, and the communication skill. So there are many things that can be improved through debate method. The other one, the weaknesses only consists of 3. Yeah, desire to win may be too great to not listen to the opinion of other participants. It often happens, yeah, during the debate. It can also increase the emotion between participants, and there are participants who dominate the debate session. Yeah, so here are the weaknesses, and in my point of view, debate method is suitable, or sometimes it's not really works if we use a debate method in population with lower educational background. Yeah, because they have, of course, they have lower literacy, especially in nutrition and health. Yeah, so it makes them hard to do the debate. Yeah, maybe not the real debate, maybe just like um some things like, oh, like slow debate. It's my term, slow debate, but you can do debate on the population with lower educational background, but it's not rigid as the debate method that I previously described. Yeah, I hope you can get that. Okay, the next one is the third learning method, is brainstorming. If we use brainstorming, so the audience can also express their ideas or opinions, and it can also generate new ideas, yeah, for any troubleshooting related with nutrition and health behavior. Audience should provide the ideas on the topic that being discussed or raised by the participant or by nutrition educator. And as an educator, they can provide or they can stimulate participants to be able to contribute freely in providing ideas or opinions, but still in the topics that covered in nutrition education session. Yeah, so if I can say, as an educator, we are playing part or a role as a facilitator, yeah, during the brainstorming method. So sometimes you just give them 1 or 2 questions and let them think themselves. And then at the end of the session, as the educator, you also need to give a summary. Yeah, that's very important, because if after brainstorming and then you as an educator didn't give any summary, then again the participants will not understand of the key ideas of the nutrition education session that you held. There are 6 types of brainstorming method: silent brainstorming, brainwriting, reverse brainstorming, brainstorming in a large group, team idea mapping, and nominal group technique. So here's several methods of brainstorming method. Silent brainstorming, it can be used for sensitive questions, for example, related with the food taboo or related with religious things. Yeah, it's quite sensitive. So sometimes we prefer silent brainstorming. It's also usually prevent participants who are too dominant. Yeah, so if we understand that there will be 1 or 2 participants that are too dominant, then silent brainstorming can be an option. And then brainwriting, usually used in small group, consists of 4 to 8 persons. And then each person given a piece of paper that has written different question. And after writing, the participants will give to other participants who are next to it. So it's quite similar to silent brainstorming, but we write down what we are thinking, yeah, in the piece of paper. And then for each question, so for example, if there are 4 person in a group doing brainwriting and there are 4 questions, so each person should answer those 4 questions. Yeah, and then in the end, again, the educators need to gather the information got from the brainstorming and then summarize the idea. Okay, and the next one is a reverse brainstorming. Reverse brainstorming means that the facilitator should give a negative questions Yeah, so that the participant expected to answer with a negative thing, then the facilitator helps to run the idea into a positive one. Yeah, so it's a reverse brainstorming, but sometimes it's to me, yeah, it's quite hard to do, yeah, because sometimes everything's mixed up. Even our brain can be reversed when doing reverse brainstorming. The next one is brainstorming in large group. Usually consists of 15 to 30 participants with 2 facilitators. The facilitators in this large group brainstorming giving instructions and then answering questions from the participants if there are any, and ensuring that all participants have a part to express their ideas. Yeah. Then the next one is a team idea mapping. For team idea mapping, each participant brainstorming individually so that ideas are more developed, then combining the ideas of each participant in large map concept. Yeah, usually the team idea mapping is highly used, yeah, in several nutrition education activity because it's easy to do, yeah, and then sometimes we got a lot of ideas from this type of brainstorming. And then the last one is a nominal group technique. It's an advanced technique of silent brainstorming actually. So participants write ideas on the paper, then post it on the flip chart. And then the next activities, there will be a group discussion to ask participants to re-explain. They explain the intent of the idea or explaining their written idea, answer question, or provide further advices. This discussion will pursue the idea so it can be voted among others, among other participants. Yeah, so it's actually the development from silent brainstorming. So for brainstorming, actually the weaknesses here are outweigh the strength. Yeah, some strengths such as it is quite effective to find new ideas. We also induce the creativity of the participants, establish informal but relaxed learning atmosphere, strengthen problem-based learning, and also encourage creative thinking. But the weaknesses is uh, it keep the brainstorming to keep the brainstorming session from being a chat session only, yeah, because sometimes in brainstorming session if nutrition educators did not give a clear question or they don't give attention to their participants, sometimes participants just talk to each other, yeah, so they didn't write anything. So that's one of the weaknesses. And another weakness is how to ensure participants to collaborate, encourage participants to build ideas because not everyone wants to think. Yeah, not every person wants to think in specific ideas. Facilitator should be able to also increase the confidence. So make sure that everyone answering your question, and you need also to emphasize that there is no wrong or right answer during the brainstorming. Because as a person, of course, we don't want other people to say that we do something wrong, right? Yeah, so there's no such thing as right or wrong during the brainstorming so that they still confident to express their ideas or feelings. Another weaknesses is how to encourage the participants to convey ideas, and yeah, it all depends actually on the facilitators. So if the facilitators are able to shape the participants so that they can put their ideas, I think the weaknesses can be cleared. The next one, the fourth learning method is discussion. Some abilities that can be obtained are understanding and active participation. Audience can convey their opinions without debate or arguments. Yeah. And in the other hand, educators plays a role as a facilitator again. Yeah, so they facilitate a group of participants to verbalize each other what they know, do not know, and what they want to know. Yeah, so I think discussion is a type of learning method that is suitable for any kind with any person with either lower or higher educational background or even social economic background, yeah, because discussion is more relaxing, if I may say. Yeah, so everyone can speak without counter each argument, yeah, and uh, it can helps another participants to also join the discussion. So I think it's suitable in any condition. Discussion method, there are several steps during the discussion, so you don't just jump into the discussion part, but first phase you need to convey the purpose and set the setting. Yeah, the purpose of today's discussion, what we are going to discuss, and what aims that we want to achieve after the discussion session. And then the phase 2 directs to the discussion, yeah, asking the initial question, addressing the issues, yeah, and then held a discussion for a specific time frame. And then in the phase 4, you can, as a nutrition educator, can conclude the discussion by summarizing and conveying the conclusions. And then the last one, the fifth phase, can also perform a brief question and answer session about the discussion process to the participants. Yeah, so here are the step of a discussion method. Actually, if even in daily life, I think you have done several type or several time of discussion, yeah, with your colleague or with your friends or with your maybe uh, workmates or anyone, yeah, it will be anyone. So I think it's quite easy to do this discussion method if you get used to it. You get used to discuss with another person, then I think you get a better understanding on how to do a discussion method in a nutrition education session. But sometimes discussion doesn't work very well if your participant are children, yeah, because children, yeah, it's children, they quite hard to be concentrate on one thing, or sometimes they just run there uh, running everywhere, yeah. So maybe the discussion method won't be really interesting for them. Okay, in the discussion method, one important thing that facilitator should maintain a balance, yeah, between controlling the flow of group discussion and freeing the group participants to express their opinions. So if one of two, if there's one or two person in the group already discuss the topic which is out of the idea that you conveyed at the first phase, then you as a facilitator or nutrition educator should know and stop it, and then back to the topic that you discussed since the first place. Yeah, so there are 4 roles of the facilitators: ask questions, present problems, ensure each participants get a chance to contribute during the discussion. But this facilitator should also be organized, summarize, and also discuss the session. And then the last one should be able to understand if there are any participants who disagree with the conclusion of the discussion and should accept the new ideas presented. Yeah, so you need to convey, yeah, the new ideas given during the nutrition education session. So again, in discussion method, the facilitator should create the discussion effectively using 3 main questions, such as what if, why, and how. Yeah, because this is a type of open-ended question. Yeah, so not close-ended question. Because if you just ask a close-ended question such as yes or no, yeah, right or wrong, it won't increase their ability to discuss on something. But if you ask them with the open-ended questions such as what if, why, and how, then it can motivate them to discuss more on the topic that you presented. So facilitator should guide the participant to ready to discuss, listen to each other opinion, yeah, pay attention. Participants should also be objective, open-minded means that they have to be able to accept the new ideas or different point of view and avoid excessive emotion. Participants should also respect. Yeah, no participant can dominate. It also depends on the facilitator. So if you find 1 or 2% that to dominate, then make sure that 1 or 2% can share their ideas with the others. Yeah. Facilitator should also guide the participant to increase their confidence in their abilities. Sometimes during discussion, if you find 1 or 2% that are too dominant, you can use, I can give you some tips. You can just call the name of participant that have never been answered, or they never give their idea or point of view. Yeah, you can just point out their name. Yeah, because sometimes if we point out participant's name, then they will uh, be more confident to express their ideas. Okay, here are some strengths and weaknesses. Some strength, it can give a problem, even giving in mind that a problem can be solved with the same solution, with some solution. Also enhance participants' ability to convey their ideas, yeah, increase their confidence, and then increase tolerance of other participants, because we have to be open-minded during the discussion, especially related with nutrition and health. But the weaknesses, it is less suitable to be applied in a large group, because it's impossible if we ask everyone in that large group to speak up. Yeah, there won't be enough time for that. So it is ideally the discussion is done in small group, consists of 3 to 8 people. And another weaknesses, discussion sometimes get limited information, because more information sources come from fellow participants. There are participants who dominate and the course of the informal discussion process, so there are more opportunities for discussion outside the path. So I think number 3 and 4 can be reduced by the role of the facilitator. Yeah, so it's very important to keep up the flow of discussion method. Okay, I think this is the last one, learning method 5, demonstration. So demonstration is one kind of hands-on activity. Yeah, actually, it's learning method that can increase the trained skills of the audience, practice, and it can also increase the motivation of our audience. Remember that participant can do what it is being demonstrated, and they can remember 90% of the things that you teach during the nutrition education session. In this method, audience should pay attention to the demonstration activities, and then participants can be also given opportunity to practice them directly. So, as an educator, of course, plays a role as to demonstrate or show the participants so that they can see and hear and finally able to practice themselves. Yeah, so we are, as a nutrition education, plays a role as a demonstrator. There are some process of the demonstration. First, opening, and then the demonstration activity, and then closing. For the opening, we can arrange the seat so that everyone can see what we are trying to demonstrate. Bring out the goals to be achieved. Yeah, it's very important. So for example, so today I'm going to demonstrate how to wash fruits and vegetables to reduce the vitamin loss during the cooking method. That's the example. So state it clearly at first or at the opening session, and then you can bring out the task that participant must do. Yeah, for it, but it's optional. Yeah, it's optional. Number three is optional. If you want the audience to do something, that you can say it in the opening session. But if you don't have anything to ask to your audience, then you can just leave it behind. And then for the demonstration method, of course, start with the demonstration activities that encourage participants to think. Yeah, encourage participants to think. So you can give again open-ended question during the first demonstration, and then create a cool and enjoyable atmosphere. Yeah, so you should make the demonstration something that is enjoyable and not too stressful. Then ensure that all participants follow the demonstration carefully. Sometimes you can also ask your audience. Yeah, so are you clear with this phase, or are you clear with this stage? Can we go on to the next stage? Is there any question before I go on to the next stage? And maybe other questions. Yeah, the question is to make sure that your audience going well with your demonstration, and then you can go to the next pass of the demonstration. And then provide an active opportunity, yeah, to think more. And then after demonstration, of course, closing. So closing is the last phase or last process of demonstration method. You can give a certain test related with the implementation of the demonstration, yeah, and you can also summarize. Yeah, summarize what's the information that you are trying to say through the demonstration. There are more strengths other than weaknesses from the demonstration, but again, demonstration actually the main purpose of demonstration is to increase the skills. Yeah, increase the skills mean that the participants had aware. Yeah, so they already aware, or they already start to change their behavior. Yeah, can you imagine if you do the demonstration on a group of people, but then that group of people actually doesn't really want to change their behavior? So the demonstration will be, if I may say it, it will be useless. Yeah, because they don't want to change behavior. They don't have awareness of the specific nutrition issues that you are trying to raise. Yeah, so usually demonstration purpose, even though the strength, we know that the strength is outweigh the weaknesses, but it is more suitable if you do demonstration in the group of people with high awareness and high willingness to change. Okay, I think that's all. And again, well, it's actually not an assignment, yeah, because I don't want to give a burden to you. So I just want you to continue the assignment that I gave you last week, because in the end of this nutrition education session anyway, you have to complete the nutrition education, yeah. So after state the educational objective and then the learning domain or level, yeah, whether it is cognitive, affective, or psychomotor, and then please write down what kind of strategy or educational activity that you will do for your last assignment, for your final assignment. Yeah, because you need to do your own nutrition education, yeah, in a small group. So you need to put here. So last week, the assignment is to create or to write the SMART objectives and then the learning domain. Now, please continue to write down what kind of educational activities that you will do in your nutrition education session. Okay, I hope it clear enough. So your plan of objective and then educational activities should be suitable with the theory-based strategy that you use. Okay, so here's some example. Yeah, Some example overview of content and materials is an education called The Whys of Colorful Eating. Yeah, the whys of colorful eating. So there are they stated their content. Yeah, introduction, and then they use brainstorming. Yeah, and then emphasize on importance of different color, and then they have self-assessment through 24-hour recall, and then brainstorm again, and then brainstorm again, and then discussion. Yeah, discussion again, and then goal setting and wrap up. So in this nutrition education session, they use several learning methods. Yeah, so they use brainstorming, they use discussion, self-assessment in their nutrition education. And here they also state their procedure, but I mean you don't need to write down like the procedure of your plan nutrition education. Yeah, I just need you to have an idea what will you do for your final assignment. Okay, yes, okay. And here's the example of the table. Yeah, similar to the assignment table that I give you. So first the mediator, what kind of mediator that you choose? Yeah, for example here you want to increase knowledge. So the objective is state the key reason for eating a variety of fruit and vegetable. Why they should eat rainbow colors, and then compare the nutrient content of fruit and vegetable snacks, and then estimate serving size of fruit and vegetable. Yeah, so here's are the specific educational objectives. So not just increasing knowledge, but what kind of knowledge that you try to increase. And then the learning domain, yeah, comprehension, cognitive comprehension, cognitive evaluation, and cognitive comprehension again. And here are the strategy that you will use. How to knowledge, for example, you give a review reason for eating a variety of fruit and vegetable, key nutrients, and then show commonly eaten packaged energy dense snacks, show serving size, and others. Yeah, so these are technical activities that you will do during the nutrition education session. Yeah, so I ask you to write down like this. Yeah, so what kind of activities that you will do in order to be able to achieve the specific educational objective. Okay, so I think that's all my presentation. I hope it's clear enough for you, and I'm sorry if there's some miswording or if you don't understand something during my class, please ask a question through WhatsApp group. So that's all I can say today. Thank you for your attention. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.